Hi, Mixley. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your rough draft. You have a lot of good detail here, a lot of good detail about your family. I feel like I got insight into your family history here, and it was enjoyable to read. Um, so, like I said before, a lot of detail here, a lot of things that I think that you could potentially explore for your narrative. So let's talk about that. So, from class the other day, we were talking about, well, really two things: descriptive detail, but also having a clear arc, right? Having a clear beginning, middle, and end. Um, and while I think that there's like a lot of different directions that you can go in this essay, what I don't quite see yet is that clear beginning, middle, and end, right? That clear arc. I think it's you trying to figure out of all the details that you've included here, right? What specific story do you want to tell? What specific story with a clear beginning, middle, and end do you want to tell? So a lot of this, as I said before, talks about family history, which was fine for this paper, but you want to figure out right what specific story that you want to tell here. So I think there's a lot of things that you could potentially tell. Do you want to tell the story of how your mother and her siblings opened a business? Do you want to tell the story about how the first time you got to go to Durango? You had to go to get some teeth worked on, but you also got to meet your family there. And remember, like where you say at the end, you kind of identify more as Mexican than Guatemalan, although you do indicate that it's because you primarily spent your time with your mother, not necessarily that you didn't feel a close connection to Guatemala. So this story and the really fun detail about turtle soup, this right here could be a fantastic story if you just kind of stretched it out by bringing in all the details of getting ready to going, meeting everyone, trying the soup, right? And maybe any new, changes that you saw in yourself and your family at the end of Guatemala. I think another really interesting thing to tell is this kind of balance between uh, uh, balancing different languages and identities, right? That you're kind of recognizing that there's a breakdown in communication because some family members are fluent in Spanish and maybe they're not so much in English, and then other family members, as they developed their English, became more fluent. That had an impact on the younger generation not having the connection to Spanish. So that might be a really interesting story to tell. That, you know, since your family immigrated to the United States, clearly you have a good connection to family and to family roots for lack of a better word. But I wonder, is something lost in that not all the members are fluent in Spanish, right? And what I don't know, like what positives could be gained um, if everyone could I don't know, share that language in the same way, because we always say that language and culture are like intricately tied together. That might be another really wonderful story to tell as well. um, I think it's kind of up to you, right? What you really want to focus on. There's so much here that you could potentially work with, but it's figuring out that clear narrative arc with that beginning, that middle, and that end for this paper. I do want to talk to you about a couple of grammar uh, uh, things here. And since I was talking so much about your narrative, I forgot what I wanted to talk to you about. Oh yeah, make sure that you are capitalizing all your proper nouns, right? You got Mexico and Guatemala Capitalize, make sure that you capitalize the United States as well. Here's something that I wanted to talk to you about. Her is never a subject of a sentence. Her is always a descriptor of a noun, so her will always be an adjective. So what you want to say here actually is she and her siblings. Does that make sense? So the subject of this sentence is both she and siblings, both of them together. Her is not the subject because it describes noun, and since this is a descriptive word, not a noun, you can't use it as a subject, right? So subjects will always have to be nouns. So make sure you say she here. Another thing that I want you to focus on is clear paragraphing. So you have a lot of amazing details in this paragraph. Like I said before, that give me a lot of great background information on your family, but they're kind of all over the place, right? So in a paragraph, you want all the sentences to focus on one main idea, right? And you're focusing on a lot of different ideas. Opening up your family, opening up a business, your son, or not your son, I'm so sorry. It's your brother? No, your son. Yeah. Oh, no, it's the son, your eldest grandmother. Okay, so that would be your great uncle, I think. Oh gosh, I off the top of my head, I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure. So this family member got sick, and then you present this idea of moving to the U.S. is difficult, because you're trying to come into a new culture, without really knowing it and not speaking the language. All really fascinating ideas that I want to hear more about, but you got them all crammed in one single paragraph. So what you want to think about is whenever you write a paragraph, you're focusing on one main idea. And when you've talked about that idea, you move on to the next, right? So I might do something like this. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. So these were all really like the main places where I saw, she's starting a new idea, she's starting a new idea, she's starting a new idea. Does that make sense? So that's something that you want to be aware of as well. All right, a lot of wonderful ideas, a lot of different directions you could go in at this point. So now it's just thinking about what specific story with the clear beginning, clear middle, and clear end that you want to tell. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this.